The question has to be, can we have a week like just gone next week? Now, there is some bullish catalysts, I believe, that are going to come in that could ignite the crypto market once again, whether that's a Trump of some kind and a big buy that came in earlier today. We'll break it all down for you so that you are dialed into exactly what's going on and why I think the market's about to skyrocket in the next few days. So with that being said, hit the like and subscribe button to make sure your portfolio is dialed in all this bull market. Let's get into the video. So with a really nice macro move up here in altcoins, Ethereum breaking well above 4,000 and holding, and Bitcoin dropping just back a little bit but retesting 117, everyone is getting bullish on the market, and for very good reasons. Eric Trump is at it again, saying this: stop betting against Bitcoin and Ethereum, you will be run over. The fact here that Eric Trump very bullish on Bitcoin and, like we said, on Ethereum is good news. Remember, he's 50-50 so far. He once told us to buy the dip and it dipped further, and he once told us to buy the dip and it pumped very much to oblivion. So let's see what he does next week. But Eric Trump, maybe he knows something, maybe he doesn't. This is a very bullish statement. Now, obviously, Mr. Trump Sr. signed a number of key executive orders yesterday, which many people now believe has secured Bitcoin to potentially $250,000 this bull run. And actually, already we are seeing the fruits of that labor. We know that he basically allowed 401ks now to move into digital assets or risk on assets. Well, no surprise, Michigan and their pension fund bought $10.7 million worth of a Bitcoin ETF. Now, this is a way of getting into the market clearly without putting undue risk. Now we know that this has been signed into law. This could be a big moment. And I actually think this week we could see a shift in some of these pension funds buying massive amounts of Bitcoin. For example, guess what happened today? That's right, BlackRock coming back in big, buying nearly 1,200 Bitcoin today, along with Fidelity and Grayscale themselves. Bear in mind, Grayscale basically dump Bitcoin every single day, actually bought a further 150 Bitcoin. Now, this isn't them specifically, this is actually their customer base. What it tells us is the market was pumping today, lots of optimism is back in, and actually those ETF institutional money is flowing once again into this market. We saw big whales buying Bitcoin and buying Ethereum over the course of the last 24 hours, and for good reason. We even saw Harvard disclosing the fact that they now have $116 million exposure to Bitcoin via the BlackRock IBIT ETF. No surprise. And actually, the more news that comes out, it's very reminiscent of 2021 and how exciting that market got. Well, these are kind of key things that start to happen, because then it'll be the University of Chicago or the University of Illinois are all now starting to buy Bitcoin on top of the $8 trillion pension fund market. It's about to get insane in crypto. And for very good reasons, these ETF products are still incredibly undervalued. Listen to this.
The thing to remember about these ETF inflows, not just the surge we've seen recently, but since the beginning, because it's been an absolutely phenomenally performing ETF. And this is a very important point that's overlooked. This is being done with the asset managers not allowing their salespeople, their financial advisors, to recommend it. So that's extraordinary. That's like a shoe salesman not being able to recommend Nike, right? So that's going to change at some point. And I'll sort of leave it to your viewers to determine what happens when that thundering herd of brokers can actually pick up the phone and recommend this ETF.
So if you're not dialed in, I don't know what to tell you. The ETF market is about to go crazy. Bitcoin price is going to go through the freaking moon. And there is even more excitement to come over the course of the next week. Bitcoin dominance is starting to come down. You can see that on the charts in just a minute, but this is a good news story for altcoins. And the fact that now we see the overall market capitulating or heading towards that $4 trillion mark, but we actually see the overall market minus Bitcoin performing better, tells us alt season is very, very close. Now, I wouldn't go selling all my Bitcoin, dumping my entire mortgage on my house and going into Ethereum just yet, but it does feel like something is brewing. And I think the catalyst is going to be this. Now, forget the Canadian bit. We're not about that. Well, maybe some of you are. I'm not sure. But the US markets are what move this market. And look, CPI data, PPI data comes in next week. This is going to be a key indicator as to exactly where the economy is on the back of obviously those job news reports that came in. Well, what are we expecting? And bear in mind, we'll get a bit of a better idea as we get nearer the time. But on core CPI, previous was 2.9, expectation now is around 3%. That'd be pretty bullish in fairness. We actually got a 2 or 0.3% miss last time. And the overall CPI that will come in at 8:30 on Tuesday, 2.7, previous expectation at 2.8. Now, the difference on this number will be tariff implications will be less, and we actually saw more on the previous month. We know that the delay in tariffs has kind of not impacted. We might see things like new car sales and manufacturing take a bit of a hit, but this actually could come in the other way. with the surplus that we got in tariffs, that could play out very favorably. So anything at 2.8 or below could absolutely ignite the market and affirm what we all know and believe, which is interest rates are coming in September. The only question has to be how aggressive they're going to be. The expectation, by the way, is 1% by the end of the year, and this will be rocket fuel to an already very bullish cryptocurrency market. And like I said, this could see Bitcoin skyrocket to well in excess of $200,000. So lots of stuff to think about, lots of macro news coming, and it's all good news. The fact we've got IBIT once again buying Bitcoin, Harvard buying Bitcoin, pension funds buying Bitcoin, and interest rates are still over 4%. This cryptocurrency bull market is going to be one of the craziest bull markets. It just is a little bit later than always. But let me know in the comments down below what you think your price predictions is for this. And more importantly, who do you think's buying Bitcoin next? And don't forget, we are getting rid of all of those dodgy, horrible, scamming comments down there. So feel free, drop your comments. I'll reply to as many as I can. But as always, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.